Hello and welcome to our Retire Early lifestyle. Let's get right into this information that you're waiting for today. What do you think about this? The internet is running wild with reports saying people are fleeing Florida in droves. But they just moved there 2 to 4 years ago. Why are they leaving now? When people fled to Florida, it was the trendy thing to do. Don't you know that everyone and their dog was moving to Florida just 4 years ago? People have always moved to Florida. However, after 2020, the trend really picked up steam. The trend is your friend until it isn't. We see a lot of similarities in the way people move abroad to a foreign country and in the way people move to a new state in the USA. The truth is, neither group does their homework and instead relies on what other people tell them in the promotions and advertisement. And in fact, people that haven't moved to Florida yet and still are on the sidelines are in amazement that people would consider leaving Florida and moving back to their home state. Take a look. So many people ask, why would you move back to Kansas? I tell them all the same thing. You've got to take your vacation goggles off. For me, it was very falsely promoted. Once living there, I thought, this isn't all you guys have cracked this place up to be at all. The key here is she says it was falsely promoted. To say something that strong as it being falsely promoted means she feels deceived by the promotions. She's angry and frustrated over it. Can you blame her? Lots of time, money, and soul goes into relocating your life. Florida was in high demand post-2020. Everyone was and still is touting Florida. More than 700,000 people have moved to Florida in just the year 2022, and it was the second fastest growing state just behind Texas. That's a trend. So yes, most people initially moved to Florida because it was the in thing to do at the time, and the promotions were enticing for most people. Reports go on to say that longtime residents are also leaving Florida for some of the same reasons as the new groups of people are leaving. Has Florida changed somehow? Well, as we always say on this channel, countries can change their policies and agendas in the twinkle of an eye, and they do. And in America, there are different people with different lifestyles. And clearly, when too many people start doing the same thing, going to the same place, well, it changes things, and apparently not for the better for most people. This is exactly the same scenario as the move abroad crowd, isn't it? So why do so many people flock to Florida in the first place? Well, it was freer with less restrictions post-2020. Florida has no income taxes. That's a big plus for business owners. The promotions rave about Florida having lots of sunshine with great year-round weather, and look at it, Florida is beautiful. People like sunshine, it makes them happy. Some of the promoters for Florida, the real estate and tourism folks, took advantage and made their promotions into a postcard saying you'll be living in a perpetual vacation of beautiful beaches, nice sunny weather, and swaying palm trees in your yard. And that view, we believe, was largely taken by many. And then there were some reports even touting that Florida has a lower cost of living than other areas. Where have we heard this before? Sure, Florida has a lot of nice things about it, no doubt, just like any other state in the great USA does. But if you were wearing your rose-colored glasses, you expected Florida to be everything people were sharing, and off you went to the best place to live in the States. That's how the Pied Pipers do it. It's called bait and switch in business. But it can be called bait and what are you not telling me? Now let's back up for a moment and talk about something that we've been talking about on this channel for 13 years because there is a lot to unpack here. One thing I've noticed that is much different than the live abroad crowd coming home and the move to a different state crowd moving back to their home state is they are much more vocal about the reasons why the new state didn't work out. Just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, let's read some of the reasons people are leaving Florida. Armadillo infestation that caused $9,000 in damage. Hurricane Ian, which destroyed the roof on her 62nd birthday. And an inability to find a surgeon to remove a tumor from her liver. These are all very serious reasons to be fed up with the state you just moved to. An armadillo infestation? Yikes. I have to admit, I'm deathly afraid of those big snakes Florida has. That alone would keep me from moving there. And here's what someone else had to say. I had been so disenchanted with Florida so quickly, Cummings said. There was this feeling of confusion and guilt about wanting to leave. And moving there, then realizing this is not anything like I thought it would be. Wow, the clue here is Florida was not anything like she thought it would be. Boom! That's powerful. Did you know that is the same sentiment that people feel when they move abroad to a foreign land? It was not what I expected it to be. And some expats actually do feel guilty like they did something wrong and they didn't. No one is a failure because their move abroad did not work out. They're actually smarter and wiser because they braved the leap and realized that it wasn't all what it's cracked up to be. They got it out of their system, so to speak. And for you die-hard move-abroad crowd that haven't gone abroad yet, let it be known that moving and living abroad is not the same thing as watching vloggers parade around with constant smiles and giggles about how great their life is. And look at this one. It wasn't the utopia on any level that I thought it would be, said Jody Cummings, who moved to Florida from Connecticut in 2021. I thought Florida would be an easier lifestyle. I thought the pace would be a little bit quieter. I thought it would be warmer. I didn't expect it to be literally 100 degrees at night. It was incredibly difficult to make friends, and it was expensive. Very expensive. Wow, she was totally disillusioned on many counts. These emotional thoughts from people go on and on. When you read such sentiments from some of these people, it reminds us of the Rams Pied Pipers who sing the praises of life in another country, being so much better than your familiar homeland, and all the people that have been lured in by the enticement. So this needed to be pointed out. It's no different with the relocation Pied Pipers in the USA, whether it be vloggers, mass media, Floridian real estate pumpers, tourism groups on YouTube, relocation services, etc., etc. Be careful and don't just move somewhere because of what someone says in a video or two videos. Think how long has Florida been around? How long has that foreign paradise been around? A long time. So ask yourself, why are all of these people suddenly discovering places that have been around for decades or even hundreds of years? What gives? Why now? A light bulb should be going off in your head. Oh yes, right, the internet. Promoting on the internet gets way more eyeballs and gets them quicker than any other type of advertising in history, including television, because television only had a few channels. Now you have thousands of vloggers and channels. If you're seeing it, so are hundreds of thousands, even millions of other people. Remember, they all make their living promoting you with the postcard view. That view may look something like this. Eternal spring-like weather all year long. The cost of living is much lower. The quality of life is way better. Everyone is so nice. The food is the best they've ever eaten. And I feel safe. Yada, yada, yada. That sounds so good to be true. And it is. We tend to only look at the superficial things and opinionated things like the weather, the beaches, the friendly people, the crime, stuff like that. Something really big caught my eye when I was doing research for this particular video, and it's this. I noticed the same sentiment coming out of different reports of why people are fleeing Florida. And it's because it's too conservative. I'll bet they have not heard that Florida is referred to as the South with palm trees. A large chunk of Florida is in the Bible Belt, after all. Without going into the political divisions of it, because I don't want this video turning into a political machination, but my question for you today is, why didn't anyone tell them that Florida was a conservative state in their promotions? Why leave out something so important as personal lifestyle, culture, and values? But anyway, I find it really hard to believe that some people didn't know that Florida was a conservative state with governing conservative values. Imagine all the headaches that could have been spared, time and money saved if we just did more personal research rather than just go with the superficial promotions that people show off in their vlogs and news articles. For instance, if you homeschool and you don't do your deep dive research, you may have some problems with the administration in your state. These are the important things every family needs to know, the things that will affect your lifestyle and values. So just a little bit of advice to save you all the headaches, whether you're Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal. It might just be a good idea to go to the legislative websites for the particular state you're considering moving to and get the real skinny on the state's policies, agendas, and bills waiting to be signed on the books. Otherwise, you're just going to go do the same thing all over again. And you can find each state's political policies and bills through various legislative tracking websites. These platforms provide access to information about bills, resolutions, and legislative activities across all 50 states in Congress. Now, to end this video, we'll share some of the top reasons why people are leaving Florida in droves, and here they are. It's hotter and more humid than expected. Florida is really humid. It's not as hot as Arizona, but because of the high humidity, it can be very uncomfortable for some people. Rising home prices. Some people can't afford to buy a home in Florida. Prices have literally doubled in just a few years. Rising homeowners insurance. Rising property taxes and association fees in residential parks. Devastating storms. High cost of living. Moved to Florida with rose-colored glasses on, believing the postcard pumpers and promoters. It's not as laid back like they were told. It is not what they expected. They can't find a doctor to do an emergency surgery to remove a tumor. Too many wild animals, snakes, crocs, gators, and apparently armadillos. Political leanings, policies, and factions. We hope you enjoyed this video and consider the information if you're considering a move. Moving across states is probably just as stressful as moving to another country. In fact, maybe more so, especially given the fact that some people are moving to the wrong state, which makes the move very uncomfortable, emotional, stressful, and often lonely. So do your deep dive research according to who you are, your personal preferences, and your lifestyle, and make the right move and be content. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and be blessed. Bye-bye.